getting ready for a set of garden edging molds. Consists of 4 nice heavy thick molds. 2 have a slight circle and the other are rectangle. I'm going to use Pam only because it makes it easier rather than a spray bottle when I'm filming, but you can use either or just wipe it with a cloth. Spray the sides, the bottom of each of the molds, very lightly. You don't need a lot. I'm going to be wiping most of it out of the mold anyway. Okay, put this over there. Get my trusty old oil-soaked rag, and I'm going to wipe inside. Wipe around the edges if by chance there are any pieces of concrete stuck from the previous pour. You can wipe those out. The oil will usually take those right out so you have a nice smooth finish. And the outside doesn't take very long at all. That's why in a commercial environment we can do about 85 square feet an hour. So 2 people could actually pour, if they were doing tile, could actually pour about 500 square feet a day. But in a do-it-yourself homeowner type environment, obviously you don't have the space, the number of molds, or the equipment to do that kind. These 5 molds for the set of GE 7000 and this one extra garden edging, small garden edging from a different set, will use up 80-pound bag of premixed concrete. We're going to pour a set of garden edging molds from the mold store. The thing you need to do to make sure you have everything together, what you're looking at is this trough costs about $10 at Home Depot or Lowe's. Same thing with this little shovel. I found this to really work well especially when you're dealing with larger molds. And a smaller type hoe. And you're going to need about a gallon of water. Now this is about maybe 2/3 to half of the bag of an 80-pound bag of premixed. And I usually do about half to 3/4 of the bag at a time initially, and then wind up doing the rest of it once I get the consistency that I want to start getting to these. It just makes it easier to move this stuff around. What you want to do is just mix it nice and easy, kind of like a cement mixer would. Use the hoe back and forth, till you get it. Make sure you dig down to get all the dry stuff up. Use the side. I usually try to set it up so I can get to the trough from both sides. This way, in case I have to get this corner, I can come over here and get it from this side. Okay, rather than keep the camera on all the time I'm mixing this, I'll shut it off and then I'll come back as I get closer to the point where it's ready. Just about at the proper consistency. I refer to it as a toothpaste. About a toothpaste consistency will do it. I want it to be able to stand up a little bit by itself, but not be too stiff, especially with these, because you're not talking, when you're making the garden edging, you're not really talking about needing that much strength because of the thickness of them. Okay, so the next thing we'll do, this is ready to put into the molds, is I'll move this aside. One thing I forgot to mention, when you're doing it in an environment like this, like a garage, if you have a fan blowing out the door, it's not a bad idea to do. You also should have full, eye protection, gloves, and a mask for the dust. Okay, I'm going to move this aside, get my trusty shovel, get the molds, and start filling them. Nope, my trusty shovel. Okay. scoop it in, fill it about halfway, and then you want to vibrate it a little bit to make sure it gets down there, gets smooth. You don't really have to worry too much about bubbles with this. It's just a very flat surface on top, even though it's got a little bit of texture. Pretty flat on top, you're not going to have a problem with bubbles. You can see that. Side to side, up and down. Just want to get it to the point where it's nice and level on the bottom, and pull it to the edge. Okay, I'll move that one out of the way. The next one, same thing. Take your trusty scooper. Fill your mold that's already had mold release put in it. Concrete. Now it's time to demold the garden edging. Flip it over like this. Try to lay it flat without putting much pressure on the wings here. Press down a little bit on either side. Out each corner, press it a little bit, and it comes in. There's your first piece. Now what you want to do is just lightly, very lightly, just take that edge off. There's a sharp edge, usually, that you get. If you don't get it off now, later on it could come back to cut you. Piece number 2. Sides are separated a little bit. Again, same thing, lay it flat. Corners up. Just press the corners lightly. And then it lifts right off. Same thing. Very lightly, just to take that sharp edge off. Now, come to a big mamu. Okay, this one, always recommend if it's a heavy piece or a large piece, like something like this, a garden edging piece that's pretty heavy, or a stepping stone, or just about anything that's heavy and large. Rather than try to flip it over and put more pressure on these wings here, if you use a board, there you go. Use a board on it. Doesn't have to fit the entire thing. As long as it will support most of the weight, it'll save your arms. It'll definitely save the mold. Okay, then what you want to do is move it to the edge without putting pressure on the wings, and flip it over. Thus, now all of that pressure and everything is on the board. Hit the sides, wiggle it a little bit, boom. Now, when you have a very large piece, if you don't feel comfortable shaving the edges on an edge like that, you can always just take and lift it up and just go around the outside just to get those edges off. Make sure you get the corners too. And that's pretty much it.